At the start of 2023, Elon Musk broke the Guinness World Record. What record did he break? Well, he was the only person in the world to have lost almost $200 billion of net worth in a single year. Although dethroned, he is currently ranked the second wealthiest person in the world by Bloomberg and Forbes. So let's see how Musk spends his billions. The founder of PayPal and the current CEO of Tesla and SpaceX spends the majority of his money on companies. We all know what happened with the acquisition of Twitter for an astounding $44 billion. And here's how Musk did it. Because billionaires have a lot of assets but are generally cash poor, which is usually regarded as a smart idea, Musk found himself in quite a pickle. After offering to buy all of Twitter several times on his Twitter account, Twitter executives decided to stop defending and start attacking. How did they attack? They took Musk out to court and forced him to buy Twitter at the price which he publicly disclosed. Musk tried to get away from buying the social media platform by saying that Twitter had a lot of bots, making them a lousy investment. A statement like this kept pushing the price of Twitter down. But Twitter executives kept their $44 billion price tag. During the numerous trials, Musk had to go out and sell major chunks of his Tesla shares in order to buy the platform. In April of 2022, he sold a huge part of his shares worth $8.5 billion. Then in August, he sold another $6.9 billion worth of shares. In November, he sold $3.95 billion worth of shares. And in the last month of 2022, he sold an additional $3.6 billion. That brought the total to $22.9 billion. This significantly reduced his stake in Tesla. Investors were getting worried and thought that Musk was exiting Tesla for good. So they started selling their shares. Before you know it, Tesla's stock price was in free fall. And to make matters worse, Elon Musk had to borrow the rest of the money to fund the purchase of Twitter. He borrowed another $13 billion from large institutions to meet the agreed-upon price. This is how Elon Musk spent his money in 2022. But what about his houses and mansions, his cars and yachts, his jets and boats? Well, Musk's wealth is majorly divided among his companies. $48.9 billion of his net worth is tied to SpaceX, which was valued at $137 billion in January of 2023. Then, his second largest holding is Tesla, of which he owns roughly 13%, or $43.7 billion, making it the most valuable car manufacturer in the world. His third largest asset is Twitter, which is currently a privately held company, and Musk is the majority shareholder. He owns about 79% of the company, but very little is known about Twitter since Musk purchased it outright. About $3.33 billion are tied to the Boring Company, and the rest of his assets are approximately $3.4 billion are tied to miscellaneous liabilities. However, we have no way of knowing how much of that is in liquid assets and how much of it is invested in actual liabilities. We know Elon Musk decided to sell all of his physical belongings back in 2020. Since then, he has been living in either his office or the small, foldable, and portable house he built for himself. Speaking of the mansions he sold, here's a closer look at how much money he got for each of them and how much he bought them for. He owned 3 mansions on Samara Road in Los Angeles. The 954 Samara Road mansion was purchased for $24,250,000 in 2016. He sold it for $29,719,000. The 955 Samara Road mansion was bought for $4.3 million, and he sold it for $4,443,000. The 958 Samara Road mansion was bought in 2019 for $6.4 million. And he sold it for $6,704,500. Musk's most expensive property was the 10911 Charlton Road mansion, which was the first mansion he bought in LA for a jaw-dropping $17 million. But in the summer of 2020, he sold that house for $29 million. In just 8 years, he earned $12 million of pure profit on a single property. From the sale of all of these 6 properties, Musk has earned approximately $19.2 million. We don't know what he did with the money, but we know that he didn't purchase any more property since then. As we've already mentioned, Musk now lives in this foldable, prefabricated home made by Boxable. The unit which he bought set him back an astounding $50,000. You heard that right. The second richest person in the world lives in a $50,000 house, is alone, and spends most of his time at his company. The transportable unit is 20 by 20 feet. It has a kitchen, a small bathroom, and a very small living room with a sofa and a TV. The bedroom is separated from the living room with a dresser. Does Musk complain? It's kinda awesome thought, he bragged in a tweet. At the time of purchase, he said that he only has one house left. Only house I own is the events house in the Bay Area. If I sold it, the house would see less use, unless bought by a big family, which might happen someday. But then he changed his mind and listed it for $37.5 million after having purchased it for $23.5 million 3 years earlier. He stated that the 100-year-old mansion is really dear to his heart and is looking for a large family to live there. In 2021, they reported that he was crashing on a friend's couches, and a little birdie told us that he even lived at Ken Howery for a few weeks in December. Near the end of 2022, some Twitter users docked Musk's exact location in real time on the internet. For having revealed such personal information, Musk decided to suspend their accounts. However, he later unsuspended them, saying the people have spoken. Accounts who docked my location will have their suspension lifted now. Now, when talking about cars, we have to admit that Musk has owned a pretty impressive list of collectible cars. Musk's first car was a 1978 BMW 320i. After that, to celebrate the sale of Zip 2, he decided to purchase a McLaren F1 in 1997. Then he bought everything from the original Ford Model T to the 1976 Lotus Esprit, also known as Wet Nilly. In 2012, he bought a 911 Porsche Turbo, and a year before that, he bought the Audi Q7, which was the inspiration behind the Falcon doors. He's also owned a 1967 E-Type Jaguar Roadster. And of course, how could we not mention that he has owned every single model Tesla produced, including the Cybertruck? Whether he owns any of these cars now is unclear, but since he vowed to sell all of his physical properties, we think the cars would have to go as well. Speaking of vows, he has also signed the Giving Pledge, which obliges him to donate the majority of his net worth to worthy charities after he passes away. Because he flies around 150,000 miles in a single year, he owns a Gulfstream 700 jet. The plane cost him $78 million, and it's considered to have the largest cabin of any business jet in the world. It boasts 5 different living areas in total. Smash that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, we'll see you in the next video.